Hello, it's me again with another story. Now today we're going to do a story about Benny Benny Seawater and his holidays in a croft in the Shetland Islands. It's written by Lisa Johnson and illustrated by Catherine Laidley. Now I am dressed in my woolly hat, my kirtle and my woolly gloves in order to keep warm because it's actually December and it's very, very cold in the garden. So today we will do Benny Benny Seawater. Benny loves the Shetland Isles, so do I. And doing a story about a Viking as we go into January, when normally Up Helly Aa would start. Up Helly Aa is a lovely Viking festival that we do in Shetland, but it won't be happening this year because of that pandemic-y thing. So this is the next best thing in my book. Benny Benny Seawater by Lisa Johnston and Catherine Laidley. Benny Benny Seawater is a Viking. All day long, every day, he is a Viking. Even when his aunty tucks him into bed at night, he is a Viking. He keeps his axe and his shield by his bed. Can you see his axe and his shield? And he's been known to keep his helmet on when he goes to sleep, but his crow's wings get beetled on the bedboard. Crow is crow and beetled is bashed on the headboard, as you can see when he's sleeping. Now this is good. Benny Benny Seawater inherited his axe and his shield from his cousin Charlie Waters, and his uncle helped him make the helmet. Well, really, he helped his uncle make it, but it's the same thing. His uncle has a helmet-shaped mould in his shed. Together they glued layers of fiberglass inside the mould and let each layer dry before adding the next. They did it very carefully, and it took 3 days. When it was ready, they prized it out of the mould and trimmed off the rough edges with a big pair of clippers. Can you see that? That is the mould, and they're putting fiberglass in it, and that's his uncle. Wow. Then they covered it with some leathery plastic that was left over when his auntie recovered the kitchen chairs. It was a good job that his auntie liked sensible plain dark red for her kitchen chairs. Benny Benny Seawater could not have been a proper Viking with a flowery patterned helmet. They used lumps of foam and scraps of velvet to line inside the helmet, which made it more comfortable to wear and stopped it slipping down over his eyes. Benny Benny Seawater couldn't be a Viking if he couldn't see where he was going. No, he couldn't. Let's turn the page and see what happens next. His uncle gave him a fine pair of crow's wings that he'd found and helped him bend, shape and polish the metal clips which screwed onto the sides of the helmet. Then it was finished and it was perfect. Can you see it? That is a great Viking helmet. Benny Benny Seawater loves his boots, but they were really just his ordinary old wellies inside. But his uncle helped him glue some old rabbit skins all over the outside, and now they look like real Viking boots. When his auntie wasn't looking, Benny Benny Seawater takes the sheepskin rug from the back of the rocking chair. He flings it on his back and pins it together over his shoulders, just like a real Viking. It keeps his back very warm, especially on sunny days, and it's much better than wearing a jacket or a jumper. Benny Benny Seawater doesn't have a kirtle, so he wears his ordinary clothes under his sheepskin. The best days for being a Viking are when it's sunny and he can wear his shorts and his favourite baggy black t-shirt. It stretches down to his knees and looks like a Viking's kirtle when it's belted around the middle. Benny Benny Seawater comes charging over the hills, roaring and waving his axe. Several times a day, he sometimes gets into trouble for frightening the sheep or the chickens, so usually he just tries to frighten the bees that are in the long grass or the fish that are in the burn, and nobody seems to mind. Now here we go. Benny Benny Seawater sometimes takes off his furry boots and his socks and wades into the burn just by the bridge. He tries to catch fish with his hands or with a bamboo pole, but he hasn't managed to catch any yet. Benny Benny Seawater makes lots of Viking galley boats from the reeds and launches them over the side of the bridge. He watches them all sail down the burn, knowing that they will eventually reach the sea, and imagines the adventures they will meet on their way. Can you see his reed there? Benny Benny Seawater spends long sunny days wading through the tall grass, hiding behind haystacks and stalking imaginary enemies. And guddling in the burn. He spends the cold, wet, cloudy days in his uncle's byre, discovering hidden parts of old machines, unravelling fishing nets, and making useful things from them. Benny Benny Seawater loves his holidays on the croft in Shetland. He feels sad when he has to go home and go back to school, even though he has lots of fun at school and lots of friends to play with. He always likes being a Viking best. The end. I hope you enjoyed one of my favourite stories and my children's favourite stories, Benny Benny Seawater. And if you have a long t-shirt or a big long jumper, you can have that as a kirtle too. Anyway, see you next time. Bye.